Hello, imperfect believers. Um, Actually, funny enough, I wasn't planning on making a video. Um, I've been trying to be more consistent, as I've talked about, and I actually made a posting schedule, like days I was gonna record and days I was gonna post, and I even planned out what videos I was gonna make and everything. Not for each month yet, because I don't have that all planned out, and I don't know yet. But I had all of January, and but God kind of brought this to me, and I was like, "You want me to post this? But it's not on the calendar. It's not on the schedule. We gonna move it to a different month or something because I'm checking the dates and everything, and you didn't have me write that down. You had me write down these, but God doesn't have a schedule. Okay, He is easily interruptible. You can interrupt him at any time. And he's like, okay, literally, he was going to heal that little girl that died, the girl that was 12 years old. And then the woman with the issue of blood showed up and was like, heal me, Jesus. Right there, right there. You can interrupt him, and he can interrupt you. So, I'm here. Um, but yesterday, um, yesterday was my first day back at work in a while since the break because I've been on winter break and everything. And I was getting ready for work yesterday. Um, and I don't normally do this, so I knew this was the Holy Spirit, but I wanted to know what the word of the day was. And so I asked God, I was like, God, what's a word? Like, what is a word that you want me to ponder on, think about, and all this other stuff? And the word that He gave me was persistence. And it was funny because I feel like that word has been kind of thrown at me a lot recently because I've heard specifically the stories that I've heard are about spouses being persistent, like before they even got with their spouse, like before they even had interest, the other person had interest, they were persistent with the person that they liked. And so I was kind of I was walking to work because I don't have a car, and I was walking to work and I was just thinking about those just different stories. I was talking out loud to myself about those and just about persistence. And as I was talking, I realized that to be able to persist is to believe that you're not at your goal. To be able to persist is to know that this is not as good as it's going to get because you're persisting for something better. And that's kind of like what faith is. That's what hope is. Hoping that there's something out there, hoping that there's something better. Like, because if you didn't really believe that things were going to get better, you weren't going to persist. You wouldn't you don't persist. Like, that's not that the whole purpose of persisting is to keep going, to keep moving despite what's happening around you. And when I as I was talking about that, I was reminded of Hebrews 12:1. And I have it here. It says it says, "Therefore, since we also have such a great cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let's rid ourselves of every obstacle and the sin which so easily entangles us, and let's run with endurance the race that is set before us." And there's another translation that says, "And let us run with patience the race that is set before us." And patience was the one on my mind as I was walking. Um, and I thought about that as I was walking, and I was like, patience and running, they seem like they're on two different spectrums. Because patience, you're going slow, you're like, it's kind of, I won't say stagnant, but there's a lot of I guess waiting, obviously. And if you're running, you're moving fast. Like, there's no slowing down. Like, you're running. And I thought about it. Let us run with patience the race that is set before us. And I was like, actually, they go hand in hand. Because no matter how fast you run, it doesn't change the distance. it doesn't matter like, how much you want to get there. It's not going to change how long you have to run. And I don't mean long as in time. Like, obviously, the faster you run, the faster you'll get there. But the distance was exactly the same. And you really do need patience. You really do need endurance when you run, because as a runner, your calves be hurting. It can't, if you don't know how to control your breathing can be hard. Like, it's so many things. Like, your legs get tired. Like, it's running is not a game, really. And if you think about this in the aspect of life, that's exactly how life is. Like, it's a race, not racing to die. That's not what I'm meaning. But it can be hard sometimes. Sometimes you get a bit tired, but if you keep running, you'll make it to the end. And like, I was just thinking about that. Just thinking about the persistence and all that other stuff. And then today I wake up and I'm just doing a lot of stuff. And then I'm like, oh wait, the word of the day. Like, God, what's the word of the day? And he says patience. And I'm like, okay, patience. Patience. It kinda blends in with persistence yesterday. And I was trying to get into the word a little bit today, and I was like, okay, my word is patience. Let's maybe find a story in the Bible where it talks about people who had to be like patient. And I was just naming off stories. I was like, well, Abraham had to be patient because he had the promise of Isaac, um, but he it took a while for Isaac to come. And then who else? Moses. I was like, Moses getting out of Egypt, going to the promised land. He that needed patience, and he didn't even make it to the promised land. Um, and then Mary and Joseph had to wait 9 months for Jesus, or however long it was. But I was like, I don't think there could be a story without patience. Like, to have a relationship with God, you have to have patience. God will teach you patience. Like if you have a deep relationship with God, God is going to talk to you about patience. And it reminded me of like prayer and fasting. Like in I have it right here. In Matthew 17, it says, this is the story of, so if you don't know the story, Matthew 17, basically it's talking about how this kid, he was like demon possessed, and his dad was really worried about him. Like, this demon sent him into like seizures and stuff, and like would cause the boy to like fall at any point in time, and he'd foam at the mouth, and he could just get in situations that he could get hurt and like hit his head. He fell in the fire one time. I think he fell in the water and almost drowned, stuff like that. And so um, the disciples tried to heal the boy, and they couldn't. And so the boy's father, he goes to Jesus, and he's like, yo, your disciples couldn't heal my son. Can you heal my son, please? And in Matthew 17, it says, and Jesus answered and said, you unbelieving and perverted generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And later on, Jesus has healed the boy, and the disciples ask Jesus in 19, why could we not drive it out? And Jesus says in 20, because of the littleness of your faith. For truly I say to you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible to you. But this kind, this is 21, but this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. And I thought about that in terms of like patience, only because when you pray and when you fast, like, you want the change right then and there. But it doesn't normally happen like that. Like you let's say, oh, I'll just give my, I'm doing a fast in a community fast. So if you want to join me, we're fasting from February 1st to February 3rd, and it is called Love to Be Free. And that name was based on the fact that it's Black History Month, and February 14th is Valentine's Day. And I kind of wanted to like have the theme about love, but also like just about wanted to kind of put that out there. Anyway, and so basically what we're fasting against is just things that like try to keep us bound. Like the examples are like the spirit of fear, or the spirit of confusion, spirit of just all this other stuff that try to control us in different ways. And so that's what it is. I'll only be eating fruits, veggies, and drinking water throughout those 3 days. You don't have to do that. That's just what I'm doing. If you want to do it too, go ahead. But I would definitely pray about it if you feel led to fast. It doesn't even have to be food. I will recommend food though, just because I've noticed in my life, because I've done a lot of fast, the real breakthrough, no, I won't say real breakthrough, that's not a good word to say, but I feel closest to God when I fast from food, because fasting in itself is separating your getting saying no to your own desires. Saying like food is a deep, like you get like, I guess it affects you on a different level, and it just, because you need food to live, you don't need your phone to live. And to let go of something that actually brings you nourishment in your earthly body, it's just a different level of like, okay, God, we here for change, let's go. Anyway, um i was uh I was rereading Matthew 17 verse 20 through 20 and 21 specifically. And this whole time, this whole time, I'd always quote verse 21, but this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. And I thought about it. Well, I actually found this website because I looked it up, and um, uh, it actually had a different perspective. And I'll have the link of the website in the description. But the guy was basically saying that it was not because specific demons need like prayer and fasting. Like it's not like, oh, this demon is so strong so that you need to pray and fast against this specific demon. The whole reason that the disciples couldn't do it was because of their unbelief. God says it, Jesus says it twice in 17, you unbelieving and perverted generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring him here to me. And then in 21, and then in 20, because of like, why could we not drive it out? Because of the littleness of faith. That's why they couldn't. And the one thing that builds faith is prayer and fasting. Prayer is a conversation with Jesus. I think it's okay. Yeah, prayer is a conversation with Jesus. Fasting is literally separating yourself from the things of the world and going to God. Like, not relying on earthly means to bring you nourishment and only relying on God's Holy Spirit. That's nothing but faith. That's nothing but a faith builder. And that's why I thought about like patience in that sense, because we need patience to build a better relationship with God. Like, prayer and fasting is not something you do once. It's something you do consistently. It's something you do like for different seasons and different period of your life, just because you need to get closer to God. Like, prayer and fasting is a faith builder, and you need to have patience to continue to run, You need to have faith to continue to run, because as I was saying at the beginning of this video, persistence is knowing that there's something better. That's why you're running. That's the only reason you're running. No one's running thinking that they're going to be running forever. You run knowing for a fact that there's an expected end, an end that is good, or at least you hope it's good. Patience, persistence, prayer, fast, it's all goes hand in hand. Like, and that's really what God has like been showing me. Like, the importance of these things, of persistence. Even though it looks dark around you, even though it looks like you're surrounded, you continue to run, because we serve a good God. We serve a God whose only vision for us is to prosper, is to succeed, is to just be with him. We have patience, knowing that good things aren't always going to come like that. But we know God can transform a situation. We pray and we fast to build our faith and cause us to keep moving forward, to keep going, despite, again, what's happening around us. And with that, that is the video of today. It was about persistence and patience, but also the importance of building our faith, because it is our faith in Jesus that allows there to be healing within ourselves. But in order to have faith, you have to have patience. You have to continue to pray. You have to continue to fast, because that's what leads to a better relationship with God. Letting go of the things of the world, aka fasting, and also talking to God about it, aka praying. All praying is a conversation. It doesn't have to be like, oh God, art thou in heaven, yada. Like, I talk to Jesus like I talk to y'all, like I talk to my friends. Like, I'm just like, it's just like this. And like, he will give us what we need. Patience and persistence are what we need. And at the end of the day, at the end of the race, I'll go ahead and finish out Hebrews 12, 2 and 3, because I really like that. And let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking only at Jesus, the originator and perfecter of the faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and has sat down at the right of the throne of God. For consider him who has endured such hostility by sinners against himself, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. And that's why God is saying persist. That's why God is saying patience. It's because Jesus did it. Jesus endured the cross. These people sacrificed him on that cross, and he took away everybody's sin. Everybody's sin. He saved all of us so that we will not grow weary and lose heart. He did it all. He did all the work. All he's asking us to do is run, because he knows at the end it's going to be good, because he already did the sacrifice. Jesus already died on the cross. That was the hard part. Now all we have to do is believe that what we're getting is good, because who we serve is good. But yeah, thank you. I will see you guys in a different video.